Yeah.
When was the last time he fought?
Fam, to be honest, he did.
So I'm
for
for me.
For him. He didn't get an adequate payout, bro. He's scrambling.
But they're gonna should be, to be fair. I don't know what else you want to say, bro. So you should be.
It's 16.
I'm not saying.
Thank you for calling Call-In Studios host and call screener line. Enter your 6-digit pound.
Bro, do you know? Smashed that Kenyan jeans, bro. ET, Eritrea.
The worst thing is, man missed it by 24
Welcome,
6
host.
seconds last time.
You are now in the host room and can manage your callers from the Call-In Studio web interface.
Yeah. Roughly. I'm gonna have to take a hit on your charger, man.
Yeah, of course, bro.
Keep it for now. Keep it for now. I don't.
Bro,
I'm just saying.
It's charged quite highly still, so.
Okay, all right, cool. Well, I swear it looked like it was empty just a minute. All right, what do you want to do, bro? Because you going toilet again?
Water.
Oh yeah.
Get my bottle.
Okay, you got a bottle, yeah? All right, cool. Bless. Kenny, did we do testing?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Alright, how's it going? 1 2 1 2. So I'm just getting a bottle of water. But how is it looking on the outside?
Yeah, it looks good. It's all good to go. So.
Good.
Whenever you're ready.
Am I shot?
Yeah, looks good.
Perfect. Let me get the. Watch this shit. Did I not bring my mic? I wanted to get my thinking of getting moving. I am a fool. Bro, I want to just sit down so we can test the mics.
Testing 1 2.
Yep, testing. How are we sounding, Mike? Kenny?
Sounds good.
La 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 la.
Are you right? So we all good on the YouTube and Spreaker data?
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So I'm gonna go live in. Do you want to do a 5-second countdown?
Yeah. You're good to go, yeah?
Good to go. Yep.
Okay.
7:30.
1 sec. Okay.
Cool.
And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to
He's taken another one and another, and Howard Foster has stopped it. Wow, that is going to be controversial.
That's a crunching right hand, and that must finish it. It must finish it.
Taylor trying to catch himself, using his jab. Eats a right hand, another right hand, and he goes down. Oh my goodness!
The dream is made real. Ricky Hatton rocks the world with a truly stunning win over a modern legend. He is the champion of the world.
Yes. What's going on, people? We're back again. Best things in boxing. Always here, live and direct from London. Ready for this week's show. Quite a bit of a quiet weekend, but nonetheless, we had some action-packed fights. Looking forward to getting to that. I'm here this week with a caller of the show, esteemed guest.
Yes.
I was going to say WBC holder. I was going to say the callers champ, Mr. Sam there. How you doing, sir?
I'm great, thank you, Coach.
Appreciate you coming in.
And I've been nagging you for ages, so finally been able to get down and see how the Raps on TV work.
How the operation is.
Yes.
So it's just, and looking forward to it. So, guys, agenda for this week, actually, is quite an easy one. So we're going to go through...
weekend, to be fair.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to go through the Warrington win, second round knockout, so I don't think we need to even give his opponent too much props, but go through the Warrington win. Usyk made his debut at the heavyweight division. That took place in Chicago on DAZN/Matchroom, so we'll get into that a little bit, see what we think he can do in the division. Can he really test the top 4, maybe even the top 5? We're also going to get into quite brief details. Gvozdyk and Bieterbiev, for me, fight of the ages. Probably a fight that's gone under the radar. But technically...
Massively.
Exactly. Technically, it's going to be proper up there. Also going to get into, and I guess really it's not great news over in America, but 2 incidents have taken place. Last week, Wednesday, we got the news that Spence Jr was in a car crash.
Yes.
Very critical. Prayers go out to him and his strength.
Really serious. You know, when I got the news, I was at work and just got the alert. That was really. It just goes to show you, like, you know, life's short.
Yeah. Exactly.
Not we're talking like he's dead, but you know,
exactly.
it's just sad.
But overall, And then obviously on the weekend, a guy called Patrick Day was in a clash. I say a fight, and unfortunately he, after getting knocked out, was in a coma. And I mean, the saddest thing about that is obviously we hope he pulls through, and a lot of thoughts and strength goes out to his family. But probably the saddest thing was seeing the referee still try and count him to 10 when it was quite clear that he was not conscious. So
see, with me, that I just think something needs to come to play, or the commissions need to come together, or you know, because that wasn't nice to see at all. That was.
Yeah. So from that point, we definitely would say, you know, to anybody that wants to call in, that wants to discuss, give their points in the past, present, or future, please make sure you do 2 things. One is like and subscribe to all of our social medias.
Like.
But if you are in the building and you want to, or if you're in the country and you want to have a call about boxing, the number to call is +44 1506 353 955. I repeat, that's +44 1506 353 955. Fans talking boxing. This is the place to be. So, guys, listen. Raps on TV. So, no better place to start, really, than Josh Warrington. He took on Tafuzix Tafkuts in a defense, second defense of his IBF super heavyweight title.
Frank Warren protege.
Yeah, I mean, look, I know everyone's going to give Warren a bit of stick, or they like to say he's an alien, which Chisora said last week, but and Dinosaur. He gets called Fisheye, so he gets a lot of stick. But I'm going to say, to be fair, I think he's putting decent shows on. But
massively, he's focusing more on the quality of the fighters and just making sure the guys who are kind of underground in the scene are having more exposure. And compared to our chat last week and talking about how we have hardworking guys getting exposure, I think out of everyone, Warren's probably the guy who's giving these guys the most exposure, maybe because he hasn't got the cash or whatever, but you know, it's these guys are getting exposure, and you know, congratulations to Josh Warrington on that really nice, classy, world-class level finish. No, exactly. And I guess like the night overall was over up in Leeds, up north, as they say. And Warrington, I think, and I guess I want to touch on this in terms of probably. I think he's valued now. I do think he was heavily underrated. But I think now we're starting to see that people are going to give him his credit. Yeah, definitely. I think he's a tough fighter. I have to say, you know, I think for me the Selby fight, I felt he was more of a football fan, hooligan type. Yeah, exactly. The hostility there, you know, the fans atmosphere. Won't fight for you. But he proved me wrong, and I think he just beat Selby, and then I think we've seen that with Frampton. Galahad was a close fight. Yes, I know a lot of people said. I think even you said you felt Galahad won. Yeah, I thought Galahad quite, maybe because I'm biased about the whole you know, Dominic Ingle kind of camp there, but you know, Galahad has a lot of talent. I think he goes under the radar. I don't think he's as appreciated as much as he should be. And I thought that fight, win or lose, I thought he was always going to get his props. But having watched it again recently, I just feel that he should have had the. I felt, you know, it just depends on the judge on the day, but I thought he could have taken that. And again, it's horses for courses, right? I mean, exactly. I'll say the other opposite. But nonetheless, it was a good fight, good credible defense for Josh Warrington. So it kind of got me thinking. And I want other people to let me know their thoughts. But I would say that Josh Warrington, if he isn't the best, I would say he must be in the top 3 best British boxers at the moment. Yeah, do you know, I agree with that, but you got to. Who's kind of in the mix at the moment? I was thinking he's like, nah, because where you going with this? I'm just kind of thinking in terms of because I don't really hear Josh Warrington's name as much as we hear the other, you know, the other kind of standard fighters and whatnot.
Yeah.
But the performance at the weekend was fantastic. The way he boxed, how he was moving, how he was boxing in and out the pocket. I like the way he was doing the long range, really mixing up his combinations. And as a boxing head, that was unbelievable to see, and which led to the kind of emphatic finish to which, credit to him.
Exactly.
Which does kind of get the conversation sparking, and you need nights like those, like the nights in Leeds, to be able to demand the crown. And not that he's shouting about it, but it's made you kind of think, he's up there, and had he, had an on par performance, or just about got through by the skin of his nose and that sort of thing, we'll be questioning his credentials. But he's been able to come through and give a nice knockout.
And that's the key thing why I'm saying I think he is, if not the best, top 3, is because there was pressure on him. Okay, the opponent now seems like it was a lightweight, but at the time going into it, everyone was like, it's a dangerous opponent.
Yeah,
tough French boxers, like they're durable.
Of course, the French know how to box. They really are very disciplined and kind of even European boxers in general, they're very disciplined and methodical in how they train and what they do.
So going into that, everyone was like, he's got to do the business. Steve Bunce was quite clear in the preview saying, listen, all the Americans are watching. He's under pressure.
No, exactly. Totally.
And
it was an ESPN show, wasn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he proved it. And now you're looking at the guys, you're saying, like, okay, they're saying Valdez. You can still make the Valdez fight. You can still make the Santa Cruz fight.
Yeah.
But I think it's the Shakur Stevensons of this world that
the Stevensons. It's because he wants the jackpot. That's what he's after. Not just the money side, but obviously the fame, the kind of, the clout that Stevenson has behind him, and I feel that would be a great fight for Warrington to have on British soil, because I'm looking at the scope of boxing now, and I'm kind of worried. This is another topic, we don't want to digress, but I'm kind of worried for the scope of boxing in the UK, and we're going to get more of the MTK golden ticket type, golden contract type shows, instead of the real kind of vanilla stuff that we used to have before. And I don't want that to happen. I want post 2020 to have a lot of British domestic dust ups, or British guys leading the forefront of boxing. But sorry,
no, and that's a great point, and hopefully we get onto that eventually. But what I would say is so for me with Warrington, I think he's up there. I think he's proven himself. I think the key thing now is really, or the key question is really to ask, what does he do next? That's where I feel he needs to sort of just have a bit of an understanding.
Let's put up the rankings. Actually, let's put up the rankings to see who's.
I mean, it depends what division. If you want to look at the champions, I mean, like they said, Santa Cruz is looking to go up. Valdez is going up. So you've got Russell Jr. I think Russell Jr. would be a great fight. Russell Jr., don't forget, he lost a close fight to Lomachenko. I think Russell Jr. would give a good account for himself, if I'm being honest.
But I don't think their styles will gel. I don't think their styles will gel, because the way kind of Warrington, or if he boxes the way he did on Saturday, the way he was kind of going in and out the pocket and just kind of boxing long for a couple of the rounds. I just don't think that would fit Junior. Yeah, because he's more of an aggressive kind.
You think for Josh? So you think Warrington will have the advantage over Junior?
I think he'd have the advantage in terms of style, in terms of just being at the top level and having the second defense successfully. I also think in terms of depending where, but the crowds and being able to manage the whole kind of bright lights, the scenery and that sort of thing, especially after the Leeds dust up and Galahads and the fights he's had before. So, but I think it's a big advantage for him, but it's also a risk, because we don't really know how a man would react under the lights and under the pressure, and under given that kind of opportunity to say, look, if you get this, you get Shakur. Like, that's the golden kind of, that's the carrot kind of dangle. So the dangling carrot there. So, and
I think there's a good chance that he could. If I'm being honest, I think there's a good chance that he could. He literally could be up there. You got to say to yourself, you're looking at somebody like Russell Jr. and you say, he wants the big fights. He wants Santa Cruz. You saw what he did with Santa Cruz, his dad, a couple of years back. I think the Warrington fight, I think that would be I have to say, I think that would be a great fight. I think if they can get the matchup done, I think it would be great. But I have a feeling that they're going to look at this, I'm going to say Wu, who's the Chinese champion. I think that's the guy that they really want. And I think that's probably the guy they can make the fight with a bit easier. So, yeah, we're going to see what happens moving forward. But for me, I think Warren put on a great show.
Props to Warren, because everyone keeps shitting on Warren at the moment, man.
Everyone keeps shitting.
Don't forget he's the OG. Let's not forget he's the OG.
I don't know if that's such a good thing in this game. But what I will say is there was a couple of other fights. So, yeah, Zelfa Barrett, came in with a good
Zelfa
fight.
Flash Barrett, man, from Manchester.
Manchester. Lyndon Arthur. I have to say, Lyndon Arthur was probably in the most interesting fight because we had Edwin Amin come over from Ghana. So even I was a little bit like...
Yeah, of course. You're always going to back your Ghanaian boy.
You know what? Always I will, right? But let me tell you something, real talk. With Edwards, this Amin guy, I was kind of like, the last 3 Ghanaian fighters that have been on Warren's show have been pants. I mean, on the Friday night, there was a guy that fought in Belfast. Yeah. Disqualified.
The last Warren show before I watched, was it
Dubois?
Yeah, Dubois. To be honest, he held it down, but then he just got beat the shit out of him, man.
First round, Tete fucked up. It's Latte that you're thinking of.
Yeah.
Latte held it up early. Exactly.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of stuff. So I was like, But Amin came in, he smashed it, to be fair. He lost, and even he lost, a lot of people
the
scorecards were so wide, you knew it's Rob. You know, sometimes in boxing, that if the scorecards are close, even if you don't think the guy wins, you can see, I can see how they done it. But when it's so wide, you're like, nah, you didn't give this guy a chance from day one, because that means there were rounds, clearly won, they didn't give. But I think for Lyndon Arthur, it was a great test. You know, he's in at light heavyweight. Maybe that's some of the domestic dust-ups you're talking about. But I just feel the problem is with the light heavyweights, to start domestic dust-ups, I really think, if I'm going to be honest, I really think their huge problem is going to be the fact that there's no money involved. Do you see what I'm saying? Because you can't get the promoters to pay you, and it's unlikely you're going to fill out the right arena, because for some reason, none of them want to go with York Hall, which I think is fine. I think a lot of these domestic dust-ups, you should. Yeah,
but for a Frank Rowan, it's a bit of an ego thing, because you've got to understand he's been selling out the copper box. He was the man doing the O2. He was the guy doing all of this.
Yeah.
And to now kind of go back to the York Halls, although Matchroom and the other competitors do the shows there, and everyone always talks about it's a great atmosphere, but you only kind of do that to kind of say you've kind of just to kind of be in touch with the people still, because that's where the hardcore East End boxing fans go, and that's where you get the real boxing chats, and that's how I came across Raps through the boxing York Hall. So you got to kind of look at things from that perspective. But I understand both ends of the spectrums. But I think York Hall doesn't make enough money. I think York Hall's the show, the kind of place where you've just got to go to York Hall as a standard compulsory tick box kind of measure as a promoter.
Yep.
And just make sure you sell out the York Hall to have that kind of fan base. But in terms of expansion and what he wants for his athletes and the guys he's managing, I feel that in order to keep them motivated, they kind of need the kind of carrot dangle with the big flashy bright lights across the board, especially as Warren's dealing with ESPN. That's a big kind of step in the right direction. Are ESPN going to back a show or really be saying to Warren, we want to continue working with you if you're going down the whole smaller concentrated
no, you're doing what I'm just saying,
kind of
you don't need to bang, bro.
Yeah.
No, you haven't been in the studio before, so I'm just giving you a bit of tips there, you know what I mean? But no, great points that you're making. So obviously, let's move on to another topic, and I think probably the most controversial of the night. Usyk took his heavyweight debut in Chicago last week.
Usyk.
Stopped Chaz Witherspoon, which I don't know if anyone noticed. Chaz Witherspoon, he looked like droopy so bad, bro. Like,
I thought I was the only one thinking this.
Every time I was looking at him, I was like...
The first fight for a heavyweight for Usyk, I think that wasn't a bad opponent.
Okay, yeah.
But at the same time...
Short notice
short notice, due to all the controversy that happened before.
Yep.
But... You kind of expect the win from Usyk. It's not about he's going to get the win or the KO. It's kind of just seeing how he is at heavyweight, how he's moving, what's the combinations about.
Yeah.
Is this really a nice natural weight for him to be able to do? Because the last time we kind of saw him get to that near catch weight heavyweight, was it Tony? It wasn't Tony Bellew, was it? Or did he
fought Tony Bellew at
last year
cruiserweight, but it was a kind of catch.
It was a catch weight kind of thing.
Weird one.
Bellew had fought at heavyweight prior,
exactly,
a dummy type heavyweight type.
Yeah, so I know it was confusing actually, because you made a good point actually. Maybe it's his second heavyweight fight.
Yeah,
because he's not really registered.
Exactly what I'm saying. And I felt Usyk looked good. He looked fluid. He looked nice. Was it you got the knockout? What round was it? Was it
Seventh.
eighth?
Seventh. He stopped him. So
Yeah,
he just retired him. Sorry.
But to be honest, with Usyk, he's not really like I listened to a couple of other. It looked in the Facebook group as well. If anyone could check that out, but there were some comments being made about Usyk saying that he's not a killer puncher. He's not a guy that could take you out with the kind of Deontay Wilder type power or the Joshua combination power. He's the guy that is spiteful with his punches and his combinations, and he begins to just wear you down and wear you down and wear you down to the extent that you want to retire. But he did look good, but I don't want to get too carried away and say Usyk's the next. I think he got a bit carried away by saying you want Joshua and all that, and saying he wants Joshua now. But you got to look at the man Ruiz, man. You got to look at Ruiz. He's a bad motherfucker. And
you know, I'll be honest. And
in the words of Joe Rogan.
And to be fair, you know what I think a lot of that is, bro. I think a lot of it is clout chasing. I know people might say it is quite a commonly used word in the last 12 months, but I think a lot of it's clout chasing.
No, but he is clout chasing massively.
Before the fight, all he spoke about was Wilder. Wilder is the easiest. And then after the fight, which I find interesting, and I want to know if anybody, I'll say thinks this, but I feel this is like, I feel he got hit by Witherspoon. There's no doubt about it. His face is marked. And I'm just wondering, after being hit by Witherspoon, he's now, after the fight, probably the smartest thing, he said, I want the winner of Joshua Ruiz. And he's changed his mind about Wilder. And even to the point where he said, Wilder won't come to Ukraine. And I was like, is somebody not going to put him up and say Wilder was ready to go to Russia? I don't think he will be afraid to come to Ukraine.
He's
not. I think the real issue is there's no money for him in Ukraine
exactly.
now,
Unless they're offering, unless they do a type of deal with another
that's what I'm like a
provider,
Saudi,
or and I don't think anyone wants to do that. But especially as we haven't even seen how the December's going to go long, and how the logistics and it's just long. It's long.
That's what I'm saying. So I just thought that was interesting. I think, like you said, I think Usyk could be a force at heavyweight. I think anybody that rules him out, I think is doing sort of like themselves an
the man's
injustice.
an Olympian.
He's
an
Olympian. He knows
win.
how to
He
fight.
knows
But
what
you know
to
what it
take
is?
to
It's the
win.
technique that he's got. So what I noticed, which was quite evident in this fight and in the Bellew fight and the other fights, is that he really kind of flicks with the jab. He kind of doesn't commit. He kind of just moves.
Kind of shakes, makes awkwardly, in
awkwardly
an awkward
bounces
kind of way.
side to side, and then attacks,
Yeah.
and then move. But he's got great footwork. I thought his footwork for a heavyweight is probably one of the best, and I think that's what will confuse. What I found was interesting.
You think he's one of the best heavyweights at footwork?
Bro, I think so. I mean, bro, honestly, I'll be honest. I think probably, man, because I think he won't sit still. He was constantly moving around, constantly, in my opinion, constantly. I think he's definitely up there. Very few heavyweights. A lot of them are quite flat-footed. Wilder hasn't got great footwork, in my opinion.
He doesn't
Joshua
stand like
doesn't.
a standard boxer. Joshua,
You would say Fury.
He's not fluid. You could say, I was about to say Fury, because Fury is fluid.
Yeah, exactly. And he's a switcher, so I would say,
Yeah.
but I'm saying, but still, I would still say Usyk's up there with him.
I would have put Ruiz. I wouldn't put Ruiz there.
I wouldn't put Ruiz there yet.
He's just got great hand
I
speed.
think he's got great hand
but
speed.
the footwork
he's
isn't
tough,
there.
and he's got the
'Cause
IQ.
if you notice before he got the knockout with Joshua, it's the footwork that cost him the knockout.
Right.
The knockdown. Sorry.
So this is what I mean. So I don't think, for me, I really think Usyk's up there on that level. I think I just totally believe this. I think what's going to be the deciding point is how tough he is in terms of taking a punch.
Yeah.
Because for me, if he's going in, he shouldn't let Chaz Witherspoon even touch you.
Yeah. But he got clipped a couple of times.
More than a couple of times,
He got clipped
bro.
a few.
And the marks on his face, and I'm just saying, like, this is heavyweight. Like, really, Wilder needs one of those.
Yeah, and you're in
it's
trouble.
lights out.
I think that's what you need to be. You need to be on the top before he starts calling up. Well, I think that's why he said he wanted the winner of Ruiz Joshua, and I think he's banking on Ruiz to really just retain the title.
Yeah, what's your thoughts on that? Because I think even Eddie Hearn, I'm like, where's Eddie Hearn's loyalty slightly lying on?
Don't be surprised. Forgive me if I'm saying this for all the Eddie Hearn fanboys out there, but don't be surprised if he's got a contract or a clause put in place where he gets to promote Ruiz's next 3 fights in joint collaboration with PBC. Don't be surprised, because he done the same thing when Ricky Burns fought, what's his name, in Scotland. Was it who did he fight? Is it Malumbu? Or was it Makabu? I can't remember his name. Is it Malumbu or Makabu?
No, Makabu was bad.
No, but then Crawford then went to knock him out as well, and he got a triple deal. I forgot his name now. African brother, he had really good hand. He had really nice hands. I think he dropped. I think he stopped Ricky Burns. I forgot his name now, but I think he flew over to the States and got battered by Crawford.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yes. Oh shit. No, he did. Ricky Burns didn't fight him.
Was it Ricky Burns?
It wasn't Ricky Burns. It was the Russian guy. The Russian guy knocked him out. Fuck, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, but he did fight Ricky Burns in Scotland for the title. No, I'm so sure.
Maybe. Okay. Maybe.
Yeah. in Scotland. I remember that was Ricky Burns' last like big type.
Ndongo, you're right.
Ndongo,
you're right.
that's it.
Ndongo,
Not
yes,
Ndongo,
yes,
yeah.
sorry, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yes.
Yeah, because Ndongo won it from this guy in Eastern Europe. I can't remember the guy's name. I'm gonna have Trovanescu.
Yes.
Yeah. He beat him quick, like, and then the defense was Ricky Burns. You're right.
Because they thought he was gonna just in case Eddie Hearn did the kind of double deal, and that doesn't surprise me if he does the double deal with Ruiz.
I don't think.
What you think? There's too much politics involved.
You know, I mean, look, everyone's gonna say it, but Heyman's around. He ain't getting. He's not. Getting
you never know if they dangle
he will have to give a big, because the thing is, and that's what I'm saying. I don't think so, because then why is he gonna force the Usyk fight? Because everyone's probably thinking if Ruiz, let's just say Ruiz beats Joshua, everyone's gonna think Ruiz would lose to Usyk. That's what they're thinking. I don't think it will happen, but I think a lot of people.
That would probably be in terms of it won't get enough clout and enough fan base. But I feel that in terms of the casual fans, it would lose if Joshua was to lose.
Yeah,
I'm not hoping for that, by the way.
Yeah,
but if those two were to have it out, I do feel that would be a real brawl.
Yeah.
I think that would be a real kind of who's got the best hands, who can wear each other down. And I think, it'll be interesting to see Ruiz being put on the back foot by someone like Usyk, who's not someone who's just going to go in for the kill, just going to keep, just keep poking at you. But
that's what I was going to say. I think Usyk will be slowly.
Yeah, and so Ruiz is used to the fast outbursts of just being vicious and violent, and these violent outbursts within, certain pockets and moments.
So would you say it's fair to say then that on the weekend's performance, for Usyk, the jury is still out whether he's going to be a top heavyweight?
No, of course, it's definitely there needs to be more evidence put to the table for the jury to make a decision. And I think, I don't think you should go for the big guy straight away. How old is he? Like 30, 40?
He's like
30?
20, must be
20?
27, 20.
27. He's a great character. I think he should fight some of these other. I think he should fight some of the guys in the top 5, the top 4. Or top 10 in a different governing body. Get himself about.
Who do you think he could fight? Because I was thinking about it.
Michael Hunter?
Not a bad shout.
Michael Hunter?
That's not a bad shout.
Michael Hunter's really good. Bad shout, actually. I wouldn't say like an Ortiz, but Michael Hunter's got enough to kind of get you in the American market.
Yeah.
He's a guy that will put up a fight.
Yeah.
What's his name? Dillian just fought as well. The guy that Dillian just fought. Rivas, yes.
It's not a bad shout.
Oscar Rivas.
Yeah, because he's got power. He knocked out Brian Jennings, and he put Dillian White down. Didn't he?
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Rivas.
Yeah.
He put him, but the thing is, Dillian again. It was down to footwork. It was a mistake. That was everyone could tell that was. But you still put him down.
They still put him down, and I don't, because I didn't watch the fight, so I won't even.
No, that was
saying. Few people put Dillian White down. If you really think about it, outside of Joshua, who's put Dillian White down?
Yeah, true. I think maybe you should look at. He's got options there with the Price Chisora if he wants to gain that UK market.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Price or Chisora, the winner of that, or Parker.
I think Chisora.
But Parker's. I don't know what's going on with Parker's injury, but Parker would have been a good fight with him. That was the spider bite. Really, bro?
Yeah.
Really?
I was a bit like.
I like Parker, but really?
Yeah, man. He's like, and your
David Higgins, really?
Yeah.
Last minute.
Do you think? I think it was money around that.
Yeah, of course it was.
Definitely
and that's why Derek was mad. If you look at the way he kicked off about being the main guy on the fight and all this stuff, and now he's fighting David Price, which I think I don't think it's a good move. I've said this openly.
Yeah, you said this last week.
I don't think that's a good move.
You think he's at a real? The thing is, and I agree with you. I think a lot of people are underrating Price's chances. However, I think we could also watch the fight and Chisora smokes him, and his stock goes up this fold because all of a sudden everyone's going to say, because when I was thinking about it, I was like, but Price has just beat Dave Allen. Why is everyone going on like he's a world beater?
Yeah, but you've got to understand, David Price, look what he did to Povetkin, right? Before, let's not forget, he nearly done over Povetkin, yeah? He got saved by the bell.
Yeah.
He actually got saved by the bell. And the ropes and saved by the bell.
Yeah.
He was there. And then one thing with Price, which he's always been questioned on, is his mentality.
Yeah.
I remember watching Chris Eubank Jr.'s fight against Ronald Quinlan, and he was on the undercard there, and he had Christian Hammer, but then he just lost the heart and the mentality, and that's a common thing, and I think it's something that's within. And he's such a nice guy.
Yes.
From looking at his interviews. But going back to this point, you've got to look at it from a manager's perspective, from David Hay. And I think, what the hell are you doing? Why are you putting Chisora in a fight which is going to be definitely less money than Joseph Parker, right? 100% it's less money. No way it's going to be more. you're going to put him in a fight with someone who's got a punch like Price. Price has got similar punching ability, if not stronger punching ability, and bigger power than Joshua. He's stronger than Dillian Whyte, and Dillian Whyte floored him. That's how you got to see it and got him out cold.
Yeah.
You got to understand that was the first time Chisora's ever been cold.
Yeah, exactly.
He can't afford to have that again because that was in last year. That's my kind of
even
way of
how he's
thinking
picked
about
up,
that.
he's done well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, I felt they should have held out for another fight or opponent, or just put in someone who's a little bit lower ranked, get the money, kind of move on, and trying to fish for that bigger fight. And you know, because if he loses this, I think he's done.
He's done. Yeah.
I do think he's done. As much as he's saying,
I never say guys are done, but I know what I know what you're putting.
Think how many lives Chisora's had more lives than a cat.
Thing is, but what people forget, I think outside where I thought he was done, and I never said it, but I just felt I felt it was going to be hard for him to come back from the Dillian White knockdown.
Yeah,
because I felt he performed great, but in the day he got iced. But he has, bro. He's come back, and even still, I can't even say the first Dillian White loss because most people agree he won that. He was robbed.
To be fair,
but I think if you look at the other losses, he's only had one or two which are shit fighters.
And
like mediocre.
the
majority of the guys, bro, he's lost to their champions. Whether it's a David Haye, whether it's a Pulev, whether like he's a top, whether Klitschko. You see what I'm saying? But I would say this into your point. I agree. I think it's a dangerous fight, but I think really if Chisora has ambitions to box on, he has to take this fight.
No, of course. No, but if he knocks him out, perfect. That's a great gamble.
Yeah.
But for someone like David Haye, who came in to manage him, he came in on the basis of, do you know what? I'm going to make you make the most strategic moves to give you the biggest financial gain as possible. That's what this is what I understood.
Yeah.
Which is why Derek was kind of like, let's get involved.
What do you think about not having a trainer? See, I think this is something that's going under the radar. I think if he's not having a trainer throughout camp, and he's already said he won't have a trainer in his corner on fight night, I think that's going to play a part.
No, massively. Who's doing his corner?
Nobody. Him. His exact words were, because he did a presser on Monday, he said he's doing it.
You think Haye? I think Haye might jump in his corner. Is Haye licensed to be able to do that?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was going to say. I don't know, because I know he's licensed as a manager. So this is why I'm like, I don't know if Haye can make that.
So what's his name? Penfold's not doing it, as David Haye likes to call it.
Hey, Coldwell's my guy, you know.
Shout out to Cole. I like him.
I
really like him. I like him. But all I'm saying is he calls him Penfold now, and now they're working together. So that must have been all right. The check must have been sweet.
Of course, the check was sweet. It wasn't long enough though, man. That's why he's moved on. But yes, I don't know who's gonna work with him. I just hope that they can get it sorted, because for me that's a worry. I think going into a fighter against Price, who's big on confidence, and Price is a confidence fighter. If Price can keep Chisora at the end of the jab, I think it's a 10-rounder fight as well. If he can keep him at the end of the jab, then I think there's going to be a little bit of...
No, of course.
It's going to be
there could be a trilogy with the...
What's a trilogy, bruv?
What's
a trilogy, bruv?
With the Dillian White.
Well, there could definitely be a trilogy.
A three-peat. In the words of Drake.
They definitely... To be fair...
I think that can happen.
And we're going to get onto Dillian White, but I think that might be a fight Dillian White needs.
What, another Chisora?
I think so, man.
If he KOs Price, that whole conversation goes in. The DAZN card kind of goes in. These guys want to go abroad and get themselves out in different territories in order to get the bigger fights. So if you look at it from that angle,
it's possible.
It's definitely. But Dillian White, I don't think he wants to go down that rodeo again. I don't think he wants. I think he wants to push on. I think he wants to push on to be the WBC mandatory. He's been mandatory for over 700 days now.
Where's the B sample?
Mauricio Solomon.
Forget all that.
The B sample. What do you mean? Look at the statement. Look at the statement that was given.
What statement? Where's the B? Why? I don't need a statement. Where's the B sample?
Dillian White.
And I love Dillian White. I love Dean White. But
Dean, shout out to you, man.
Yeah.
But you've got to understand, if there is an adverse find, if it was that serious, how comes they haven't disclosed everything that was in the sample? How comes they haven't...
Wait for the B sample, bro.
Yeah, but has the B sample come back yet?
No, this is what we're telling. This is what I'm trying to say to you. It's them. It's essentially.
But if there doesn't need to be a B sample, because
there has to be a B sample.
If it was that serious, they wouldn't. But no.
That's the process, right? So whenever somebody gets done on a failed drug test, they have the A sample, or sample A, if you want to say. And what they then do is they say, we have a B sample, we test that to confirm that there was no discrepancy.
True.
So we're saying there's no B sample. We're saying there was an issue with the case. So I spoke to, in fact, I won't name the source, but I spoke to somebody.
Kevin's watching.
You know what I mean? I spoke to somebody and they told me specifically the reason why Joshua Ruiz was not happening in Saudi Arabia was linked to that the actions around the Dillian White case, the gloves, because Oscar Rivas, many people don't know, is actually a Heyman fighter, or he's advised by Heyman.
Yeah.
And I know the manager, right? And then you had the gloves, and then you've also had this situation around the B sample, and like everybody else that would probably know, Tyrone Spong, which he's guilty as well. He had 2 failed cases, 2 failed drug tests, and the fight was pulled. VADA announced it to everybody, and Spons was called out, and he didn't get a license to fight in Chicago. Dillian White, on the other hand, didn't announce anything. Rivas was in the dark and didn't find out about this failed drug test until 5 days after the fight?
No, I get that.
I think
that. I think there's legal matters going into play.
100%.
If Rivas is managed by and advised by a PBC, I think the relevant legal parties are taking
100%,
it into effect, and which is why some of the governing governing bodies have kind of slated Dillian White as purely because if you're being questioned on the drug test, it doesn't matter.
But like I said, I think I think with Dillian White, great fighter.
Great character.
I think what he's doing with the Smoke Sundays and what he's done with the
community
with the fighters, just even giving fighters that sort of a platform, exposure.
Richard
John Pester, Craig Richards, he's bringing them on.
Shakan.
So what I would say is this: it's like look, just get it sorted. You know what I mean? Let's see you back in the ring ASAP, because I do think you've got a strong chance, as you said, to fight for the WBC title. But I think if you don't sort this B sample out, I think next year he's going to go.
He's going to have a problem, and he's not getting any younger. So I think it's a kind of sink or swim type of moment.
Because WBC are big on Nevada. So listen, we're going to go out to the phone lines.
Let's hear what the callers are saying.
Let's hear what the guys have to say.
Hopefully they're agreeing with me over Kojo.
That's no problem. That's not a problem, brother. There's no such thing as a right or wrong call. Right?
Yeah,
it's
there
all
is.
Opinions.
Yeah, there is.
Right, here we go. You're in the hot seat for like 20 minutes and you're gassing, brother. 985 is our resident caller, Mr. Appiah. You'll be next in the studio, sir. We just got to get a date. How you doing, sir? Hello? He's left us. Hello? All right. We'll come back to you. 985. I know that's Appiah. 167. This is a first-time caller. 167. Hello? Don't go shy.
How are you doing, guys?
167.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. I'll tell you what, that might have been. Hello?
Hi, how are you doing, guys?
We're doing good.
First time I'm calling in.
Thank you very much. What's your name?
My name's Benga.
Hello, Benga.
Hello, Mr. Benga.
Mr. Benga.
Okay, keep up the good work.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Any comments on the boxing scene at the moment?
Yes, quite a few comments. Where do I start? I was listening, just wanting to make a few comments. I listened to what you guys were saying about Alexander Usyk.
Yeah.
I do think that there's something that's been missed. Usyk. Well, I wouldn't say you guys exactly missed it.
Mm-hmm.
It's the emphasis you put on it. Everybody focuses on his size, but what they're forgetting is his outstanding skill level, which a lot of the heavyweights just do not have.
The technicality.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah, and particularly if you take a guy like, you take the top dog, for instance, someone like Deontay Wilder. He's got great power.
Yeah.
But like you rightly said, he's got poor feet.
Yeah.
His fundamental skills are pretty bad.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you take his power, take that devastating power away, and he's actually quite a poor fighter.
Yeah.
He's average.
And I feel like in modern times these days, I don't know if we don't have the great teachers we used to have in the past, but I do think that is something, a guy, obviously some of these Eastern Europeans like Lomachenko and Usyk do not lack.
Yes.
I can imagine Usyk giving all the top heavyweights fits just because of his fundamental boxing skills.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about his feet, but having great feet in boxing is a big thing. You know?
Yeah.
Okay, yes, he got hit by Charles Witherspoon, but maybe he could afford to get hit by Charles Witherspoon. Do you really think a guy with that skill is going to be there for Deontay Wilder to hit? Look at the way Tyson Fury was making Wilder miss,
and that's it. And I was gonna, it was literally twofold. If I could just go to that point, I think you raised some great points. That really very logical and really articulated them very well. I do think, however, that with Usyk, we've seen even at the cruiserweight in the World Boxing Super Series, he did get hit quite a bit. So my question mark is over his defense, and I think the Fury fight showed us that Wilder will knock down every opponent he's faced, and that's where I just think where Usyk could come unstuck. But I think you make the great point in terms of the skill set, in terms of that's what we'll see him through. Yeah, but I think that's great points there.
Yeah, there's one more point, so we can get on to other things. I want to make on that.
Mm-hmm.
You see, you know, as a boxing man, yeah, I really hate it when, if I have a fighter, if he only has one trick.
Yeah.
And I think fundamentally, I guess my problem with Deontay Wilder is I think he's a one-trick pony.
100%.
Yeah.
If you find someone that can take that away.
We've seen really fighters who have devastating power, who at the time maybe had one trick, like remember the young George Foreman.
Yeah.
But what happened? What happened when he finally found someone who could take his power, or at least stand his power,
Exposed.
like a Muhammad Ali or Jimmy Young?
Great.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, it messed him up psychologically. The guy basically had to leave the game and then came back many years later, an old man, and
started selling grilled chicken.
It was a totally different character. So I don't say, you know, let's, you know, I think for these cruiserweights who move up, for me, the issue is not so much the size. Look at the skill level. You know, the great ones. I mean, okay, I'll finish this off by saying, to date, right, the cruiserweight division is relatively new.
Yeah.
But I think there's a real case for saying that Alexander Usyk, to date, may actually be the second greatest cruiserweight we've ever seen.
Who's the first?
After Evander Holyfield. Some might argue that maybe he's the greatest.
Yeah. True, he is.
You know, but, you know, so, I mean, a guy who's won Olympic gold, wins all 4 belts at cruiserweight.
Yeah.
Put it this way. I'm not going to be... You won't find me rushing to the bookies to bet against them.
Okay. So listen, Benga, thank you very much for your call. Really appreciate the time.
Thank you very much, sir.
We're going to move on to the next caller, but hopefully we'll hear from you more in the future. And yeah, really appreciated your points.
Keep up the good work, guys.
Thank you very much.
I really appreciate what you guys are doing.
No,
Thank you.
We appreciate that.
Brilliant.
Cheers,
Take
brilliant.
Okay. All right.
All right, let's try 985. Daniel, Mr. Appia, hello.
How we doing?
Yeah, not bad, bro. That was my thing. I think I had you on mute, so apologies for that. How you doing, sir?
Okay, no problem. Yeah, very well, thank you, Kojo. Very well.
Good.
Very well.
What's on your mind?
Yeah. Josh Warrington, probably top British fighter at the moment.
Did you hear me say that?
Obviously.
Did you hear my points?
I did.
Okay.
Believe that statement,
Top
really, Daniel?
Good.
I like that. Because he's not good looking, because he's not fashionable. You know, that's why. That's what it is. That's the truth, though, gents. That's the truth.
Yeah.
He's not fashionable. Yeah. He ain't the best fucking looking and all that. Ain't flash. But what he does, he's got a good little team, and he does what we all like, Kojo. He gets the fucking job done.
Yes.
He gets down to fucking business every single time.
Yep.
And you know what? I'm looking forward to seeing him in some big fights in the United States of America next year.
Yes, exactly what we're saying.
Let's just hope he gets some big fights now. Because do you know what? He fucking deserves it.
Deserves it.
Yeah,
He fucking deserves it. He's been active.
Yeah,
Isn't he?
yeah.
That's what I mean.
And you're not, yeah, go on, Codge.
No, I was going to say, I mean, and like I'll let Sam go afterwards. But if you remember when he was leading up to fight, I think when you actually came to the studio,
right.
We interviewed Tony Borg, and one of the questions you asked him was like, "What are you guys going to do when he keeps coming, keep coming?" And Borg's answer was, "If he keeps coming, he's going to keep missing." But evidently, we saw that didn't happen. Since then, you got to think he fought Selby, Frampton.
Yeah.
In fact, he stole the belt from Selby, took the belt from Frampton, Galahad. I mean, come on, that's
he's done it. He's done it the hard way. He hadn't really had the most promotion. And with someone like him, like I said, he boxed really, really convincingly on Saturday and showed he has multiple styles and knows when to. It's just growing and maturing as a fighter. And it's really good to see.
Yeah.
Like you lot said, he mixes it up. People think that he's just, he's all action and he's on you. No, he mixes it up. He can gauge it. He can he can get right on top of you. You know what I mean? He can fucking mix it up. He's not just one dimension.
Not a one-trick pony like our guest Benga said before. He's got multiple. He's a jack, not a master. He's a master of a few, but not a.
But he knows he's got different. Strings to his bow. He's got different tools in his toolbox.
Yeah, exactly. And he's entertaining.
Yeah,
and he's entertaining.
Yeah.
High pressure.
Yeah.
All right, and then last. What do you want to say?
Yeah, go on.
No. Carry on.
No, you ask me.
I was just going to say thoughts on the Usyk fight. I don't know, not necessarily the performance, but Usyk against top heavyweights. What's your thoughts?
Top heavyweight. Well, Usyk. Listen, that kind of style of fight I like. I think Usyk is going to cause a lot of problems in the heavyweight division. But like the gentleman said before about Wilder being a one-trick pony, he thinks he's just going to be able to dance around Wilder all night. Wilder is a one-trick pony, yes, but that trick is fucking hard to stop, innit?
Yeah. This is what I'm trying
Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know what I mean? Yeah, he's a one-trick pony. Yeah, all right. Yeah, you're a one-trick pony, son. But that fucking one trick...
Nobody.
It's hard to. You're not. You know what I mean?
For me, and I just think, and
good night, innit?
I would never even argue that he's not a one-trick pony. I would agree, but I think he's a slightly better boxer than he gets given credit for. But fundamentally, if you compare him to a Usyk, even to a Ruiz, to a Fury, he's not up there. So therefore, he's not even a top three. Even Ortiz is a better boxer than him. Wilder usually loses a lot of the fights, but what saves him is that one trick. And unfortunately, that one trick is some trick. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying.
Ask Dominic Brazil about that trick.
With him around, with Wilder around, I would say, I mean, Usyk, obviously, I think he will be a top heavyweight. I think he will be the top heavyweight.
Yes.
Can get Wilder out of the way. Yeah, I think he'll be. I don't see. I think it'll cause people problems. Like you said earlier, he, for a heavyweight, for a big man, he's got terrific footwork. And I am like a lot of the heavyweights. You said they're flat-footed, aren't they?
Yeah.
So it'll just be, he's been moving about with them and just playing with them all night. And
especially if he can
take the power.
That's it, bro. If he can take the power, then I think you'll see, because he's one of those fighters similar to like there was a Mayweather stage where he would read you for the first 3-4 rounds.
Yeah. Similar. He's similar when he breaks him down. But I'll be interested to see in the division as well with the new birth of Usyk at heavyweight is the fitness and the stamina, and how he's able to wear that. I think his fitness is very detrimental to him winning these fights and being able to not get tired in, because as we all know, because heavyweights are bigger, the muscle mass and everything, they get tired. It'll be interesting because he's coming up from cruiser. Is he still having the same kind of muscle memory and knowing how to wear these guys down? Because if it's that, the heavier guys are in trouble. So like the Ruizes, I think they're in trouble because they don't think they'll be able to keep up in the fitness level with Usyk. And someone who gets he's a slow burner, that is perfect, and the kind of styles they'll both have would look unbelievable. And very entertaining fight.
So Daniel, I'm gonna last point before we move on to the next caller, or anything else?
You know what, lads? Great show as usual. Just keep up the hard work.
Brilliant.
Keep fucking covering ground. You're absolutely fucking killing it at the moment. That's what we like to see. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, just keep doing your thing, man.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying?
Grafting. No, I appreciate that, brother. So listen, thank you very much,
Yeah.
Daniel.
Thanks, Daniel. Good to speak to you.
All right, yeah, take care, gents.
Cheers.
See you later.
Cheers,
Yeah, bye.
Going out to 348. 348.
Evening, gents.
Yes.
How's things?
Mr. Lyons, young Tom.
Hello, Tom.
Everyone's thinking, where's Tom? Where's Tom?
I've replaced you.
You know what? I have to say, Sam is filling my boots very well.
He's not doing a bad job.
Thank
He's not doing a bad job.
Thank
He's
you.
not doing a bad job, actually. So, how you doing, sir?
Yeah, I'm good. There's a lot on my mind. I'm gonna take Sam's position because I know he likes to go in depth, so I'm gonna go in depth.
Please do.
You've got the honour.
Obviously, like Daniel said, I agree with him. I think Warrington, you have to stake his claim as up there with being one of the best British fighters we've got at the moment. You know, his resume speaks for itself. You can say what you want about these opponents that he's beat at their stage of their career. You know, Frampton, Selby, Kiko Martinez. But he's got through them, and he mixes it up. He smothers people's work. He's able to box on the outside. He's able to put pressure. So you have to commend him. I thought obviously his opponent on the weekend wasn't anything special. He's quite negative. Warrington was able to catch up. Make ground and really kind of put it on him. And again, smothering his work, going on the front foot. Making it difficult for him in there, cutting off the ring. So I have to say it was an impressive performance, and it puts him in a good position now to maybe target a unification. I know the Chinese guy with the WBA, he's available. I know Valdez has moved up in weight. Santa Cruz has hinted at a move up to super feather. So it's interesting. I hope he does get a unification because with all those performances, back-to-back wins on his resume, then he can really solidify himself as a top champion.
I'm just hoping he gets compensated and gets the amount he deserves and doesn't get shafted, because I feel that, with his story as well, I just feel that he's always had to take less than what he's entitled to. And I feel that now, because he's proved himself now and solidified himself, and now you guys are, running with the title of being English's, being the best in Britain right now, I feel that he can demand the paydays he wants, because ultimately that's what they're doing it for.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, no, and I think on that point, I think you're right. Top British fighter. I think if he's not in the top three, I would probably argue that he's top one, top three at the moment, but he has to be up in the top three. So outside of that, Usyk, what was your thoughts on the Usyk performance?
Yes, I'm interested to hear this. Go in depth, Tom. Go in depth.
Yeah, Usyk was what it was. Obviously it's his entrance to the heavyweight division. We're expecting him to blast this guy out in a round, 2 rounds, really make a statement. But I think for a guy that's not been in the ring since, I think, last November when he fought Bellew, you can't really expect him to have the same sharpness as what we would have seen when he was at cruiserweight, having to adapt, move up in weight, and all that muscle that he probably put on. His skill set speaks for itself, but I was expecting him to go the rounds. I think it's probably done him the world of good getting those 7 rounds in, so that when he does come up against a Michael Hunter or a Dominic Brazil, he's prepared for those guys, because they're durable guys. They're going to stick in there with him for the long run. So we'll have to see. I think Usyk, people are very kind of critical of him. He's wiped out the cruiserweight division. He's done all that he can do, and they're expecting him to be able to topple like a Wilder, a Fury, a Joshua, when they're seasoned heavyweights. They've been around. They've campaigned at that weight. True. And I think the skill set you've got to use from cruiserweight, you're able to move, you're able to maneuver, but you've got to hold your feet a lot more in the heavyweights when you're punching. You're going to take heavier shots, so you're going to have to dish out heavier shots.
Oh, true.
So you're going to have to hold your feet. There's a lot of... There is a lot of criticism, but Usyk, it's only a matter of time before he gets the big step up. Now he's with DAZN.
Oh, yeah,
I'm sure
DAZN's a big part of that.
Let me speak, bro. Yeah. Go on, carry on, bro.
So it'll be. Yeah, no. So I think just a matter of time. Obviously, this Chaz Weatherspoon, he's nothing special. Last minute replacement. So I mean, got the job done and move on to hopefully a more sterner test.
No, exactly. DAZN's a big move. and a step in the right direction. He's promoted by, you know, the UK's best, but not America's best in Eddie Hearn. Sorry, I had to put that out there. But one thing I wanted to say, though, is that, you know, Usyk's actually a character. I wish, you know, I think maybe he's corny they saying these statements because he really wants to get his brand. It's kind of similar to Tyson Fury with his outlandish comments on the way he behaves and that sort of thing. Just remember, like, you know, he just needs to get his English a bit better and get himself better in terms of that, and he'll really have a brand.
I am very feel.
Yes.
But yeah, exactly. Like you said, when he knocked out Tony Bellew and retired him, he was saying that, you know, I need to eat, in his own language, he said, I just need to eat more pasta, which seemed quite funny as a comment. But, you know, I want to see more of this guy's personality. And I think as his personality comes out, people will begin to appreciate him and understand him more as a fighter and will grow his brand and fan base. But he needs to stop calling out these guys, though. He needs to be flooring these hunters and eating these guys for breakfast, lunch, and dinner first before he goes for the top. You know?
I mean, but you raised a good point, actually. Now, sorry, Tom, before you speak, his personality, I think, he's really, I think he's going to be quite infectious. And I think if he keeps performing and he just behaves the way he does, and he's like, even when he's training, he's dancing, and like, it's just a good
character. Man.
Like, I think he's a likable guy across the board. So yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing more of him. Tom, your point?
Yeah. Just to finish off from the weekend, I was really impressed with Zelfa Barrett. I thought he really made a mark. Obviously, since that Ronnie Clark defeat, I think beating Leon Woodstock, that was a good win. And again, defending his Commonwealth, he really made a statement, you know.
Yeah, so. Yeah, no, and I just want to say, actually, that's a good point because, this is, again, you know, when fighters kind of want to protect their they don't want to get in and take any risks. You look at Zelfa Barrett.
Yeah, we don't want to see that. We don't want to see that.
Everyone was slating him after he lost. Even Hatman Strikes Back and all that was saying that he was a flop and everything.
They were saying he was a
fraud. Shout out to Hatman, but still, you was kind of
fuck Hatman. But I think that's a great point you raised, and this is what I'm saying. Overall, I do think that Warren is building a decent stable. I think he'll be able to put on decent cards. One thing I want to ask before you go, Tom. Dave Allen at this fight called out Dubois. Seemed to get a lot of backlash. Yeah. What do you think about that?
Well, Dave Allen's getting around. He's persuading all these promoters that he can really give their target men a real good fight. And I think, you know, like we all know now that Dubois is going to be, besides obviously Fury, top of the heavyweights, is going to be his cash cow within that British level. So, I mean, if he gathers enough attention, I think that's probably his biggest step up to date, Dave Allen. He's durable, he's tough, he makes it difficult. And again, when he's motivated, like we've seen, you know, when you have a guy that's motivated and that really wants to win a British title and really, you know, cement his own legacy and whatever ambitions he's got, then why not? I think Dubois, he's much more imposing. He's got a bigger stature. But it's going to be a tough fight because, again, Dave Allen can press the action. He can get on the inside. He can smother Dubois. And let's really test how Dubois is able to deal with that, because he's not had someone that's really stuck it on him from the off and really kind of took the fight to him. A lot of the guys like the Nathan Gormans, the guy that he fought, Ebenezer Tete, they were on the back foot. They were negative. But Dave Allen, he's not going to care one bit. He's going to come forward and he's going to make life difficult. And let's just see what Dubois is capable of.
Yeah, no, appreciate that. So listen, Tom, I'm going to move on to another caller, but I appreciate you calling in.
Cheers.
And see you next week. Cheers.
Top man.
Take care. Cheers. Bye-bye. Going out to 041. 041, the floor is yours. Hello. Is one of these silent? 041. Going once.
Going twice.
Going 3 times. You're just listening. That's fine. 581. 581, the floor is yours. Hello.
Coach Dean Sinclair.
Yes. What's going on, brother? You good?
I'm good, bro. How are you?
Yeah, not bad. How's things? Ready to give us your thoughts on boxing?
Yeah, regarding the Usyk fight over the weekend.
Yes, please.
I thought he did okay. There's been a bit of criticism from him. I thought he did okay. It was his first fight.
Yeah.
It's been his first fight in a while, actually. His first fight as heavyweight, and I think he did okay. What I would say is, before going up against AJ or Ruiz, being in mind he's WBO mandatory, before going up against those guys, I would like to see him have one, maybe even 2 more fights against tough, durable heavyweights.
Yeah.
I think if he was to fight an AJ or Ruiz next, I think he would get caught out. I don't know what's your thoughts on that.
I mean, yeah, and Sam is saying, yeah, he's agreeing with you, but I'll let Sam go. But I wanted to ask you a question. Who would you like to see him fight? If you name two warm-up, who would you like?
I like the sound of Usyk Parker. Obviously, we don't know what's happening with Joseph Parker at the moment, but
shout,
I would like to see it. I would like to see it. I think that'd be an interesting fight.
Yeah.
Parker's tough. He's durable. He's got the fast hands. I think he would give Usyk problems, to be honest. Probably problems that he hadn't even seen at cruiserweight.
That might be a good fight. I don't think there was a spider bite. I actually think they probably said, you know what?
I'm saying. They just, I reckon they just put a tarantula on his leg.
Yeah, they just got a picture of a tarantula in his head and they just pretended. No, that's a really good shout. Because
definitely.
Usyk Parker, and it would answer quite a few questions, actually. It would answer a lot of questions. Yeah.
No, exactly.
Who's the second one? Or you're happy to stick with that?
I'll go with Joseph Parker for now.
Yeah.
I think someone earlier mentioned Michael Hunter.
Sam.
That would be interesting. That would be a good fight.
Yeah.
But yeah, or depending what happens with Ortiz Wilder, if he was to fight Parker and maybe early middle of next year fight Ortiz.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yes.
It's an Ortiz again. He's tough. He's durable.
Ortiz is just a nightmare.
I still think there's question marks on Ortiz as well. I do think Ortiz is a little overhyped. He's not really beating anyone for me. So I don't look at that fight and think, boy, you know what? Usyk will go in there as a serious underdog. If Usyk was to fight Ortiz, I would have Usyk as favourite personally.
Yeah, I think you would be right though. I'm not a gambling man. I don't understand the bookies, but I would see them having him as the favourite. But I do think Usyk. I do think Luis Ortiz could give him some problems because then you've got the southpaw style as well, and you've got the strength. But I think you're right. I think Usyk would beat him, but I don't think it would be easy. But I like the Parker. I've got to say, I really like the Parker. I think there's a lot of things that would make me say, you know what? Yeah, he beats Parker. If he stops him, I think that sends a shockwave. Do you know what I mean? Because you think about how Dillian White beat him. You think about how Joshua beat Parker. Chisora was due to fight him. So, yeah, no, that's a good shout. That's a really good shout. Dean, did you... actually, no, you wanted to talk about...
Yes. Hi, mate. Sam. Just wanted to catch up.
Hello, bro. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Happy to be on the podcast. It's good. You should try it. You should count someday.
Dean's coming up
You're
soon,
up next,
actually.
yeah? See if you can get more views than me. I'm currently on 10,000, but you know. But in answer to your question about the whole AJ Ruiz and the Usyk, I do agree with the fight. I do think Parker would be a good fight. But my question behind looking at Usyk is he able to go toe-to-toe and really go in the trenches if someone like a Dillian White was to rough him up? Like, Dillian White is bad. Like, Dillian White,
Dillian White's a bad man.
This is what I'm
saying. Dillian White would do every trick in the book. Come in with his entourage, maybe a ring invasion, who knows? But, you know.
I like
that. That's what I'm thinking. My question to you is, how do you think he'll react with someone like Dillian, who's not scared, who hasn't taken, who's taken a loss? How do you think he'll react to going toe to toe in the pocket, trading with the body snatcher?
I don't think it would faze him. He seems someone that's quite calm, composed, unfazed, to be honest. I don't think it would faze him going toe to toe with Dillian White. But I do think that the extra weight, natural weight, the extra power, Dillian White would probably catch him down in the later rounds and possibly even stop him.
Interesting.
If he was to fight him, say, next. Obviously, as I said, if he was to fight Joseph Parker and as you said, knock out Joseph Parker, then boy, it's a complete different conversation. But at the moment, as things stand, I would have Dillian White beating Usyk.
Yeah.
I think Dillian White would just pull it on him in the natural size, natural weight, natural
Then I think
power.
Eddie needs to make it happen, man. Eddie needs to make it happen. I don't think Eddie would make it because he knows those are two of his cash cows gone and the clout's gone.
No. Eddie can't afford to make, especially not knowing what's going to happen with AJ at the moment.
Exactly.
Eddie can't afford to make that
Exactly what I was going to say. British boxing, in terms of where the pendulum goes, depends on the Saudi Arabia fight. And I've said it here on Raps on TV. It depends. The pendulum goes, if Ruiz wins, it's back in America. Boxing's back in America, just for a short period.
Agreed.
If AJ wins, We're back in business. We're back in the Wembley. We're doing Tottenham Hotspur. We're doing all these places.
These guys,
and boxing's back.
Even mentioning Tottenham Hotspur on the show.
I'm a gooner. I'm a gooner as well. Oh, go away, man.
You know what? I got to say this, right? I got to say this.
Next caller.
We all know that.
Yeah, so Dean, you know what? I got to just tell them, actually. So the first time me and Dean spoke, right, we messaged over Instagram. He was like, I like the page, blah, blah, blah. I was like your staff as well, and he's got good opinions. So I was like, listen, you've got to call in, come on the show. And he was like, yeah. And I think, was we supposed to speak the day of the North London derby? So I was meant to call him, and he was like...
Yeah.
September.
Yeah, September. And he's like, I'm a Spurs fan.
I was in Emirates that
I was like, okay, I'm an Arsenal fan. Let's talk in the week. I was like, let's talk in the week because, if one of us is going to be upset, now luckily it worked in both of our favours, but he probably was still upset and I was also upset. Right? Because 2-0 down, 2-2. Yeah, but no, so Dean, last point, do you want to make any other points you want to make?
In regards to boxing, just touch on Errol Spence Crash.
Yes.
Gutted when I heard that. So sad because he's my favourite active fighter, Errol Spence.
Yeah.
So gutted when I heard it. But from what I've read, he's going to make a full recovery. He's going to be okay. But
Amen.
I think it should also be a kick up the arse for these promoters who try to make these fights grow, supposedly.
That's a good point.
Time don't stand still for no one.
Yeah, good point.
Anything can happen at any time.
Yeah.
And, all right, listen, he's going to be all right, so everything's cool, but
you don't
who
know
knows what's going to happen.
Yeah,
and then, trust me, these blokes are going to be screwing. How much money would they have lost? The fans would have lost a major fight with Crawford Spence.
Yeah.
All because these are greedy.
Yeah.
It's down to greed and ego.
Yeah.
Look at AJ Wilder. We want to see AJ Wilder when the two were don't get me wrong, it's a massive fight. But we want to see it when it's unbeaten. AJ went and lost.
Yes.
So it's a kick up the arse to these promoters. Anything can happen at any time. Just get these fights happening.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, Dean.
Great way.
I think it's one we're going to end on. But thank you very much for your call as always. And we'll be in touch. I'm going to be in touch soon and get
the good work.
Bedford. You'll be in the studio as well.
Yeah, appreciate it. And I'll be calling and grilling you about how dead Tottenham are. But anyway,
take care, up, man. Take care. But yeah, on that note, I think we definitely, because we said we're going to start the show. We're speaking about Spence Jr. Man, I'm not even going to lie. When I got the message on my WhatsApp on the Wednesday, I was like, damn. I was like, it's fake. So I had to call my, I'm not going to lie, I know it's a name drop, but I had to call my people at PBC and like, is this true? And they were like, yeah, it's a fucking shitstorm. And I was like, fuck, man.
Crashed his nice new Ferrari.
And then the video came out. And then you see the car tumbling, and then there's all types of stuff. So listen, the only thing I'm really going to say about this matter, really and truly, is that we just want Errol Spence Jr. to get back to his full health.
Recovery.
And I know everyone says the ring. We all want to see him in the ring and fight Crawford. But right now,
I want him to go home to his daughter, man.
Exactly.
I want him to go home to his wife.
I have to be honest, I'm a little bit concerned because I think it's just a bit too quiet.
Yeah, same.
But if they say it's like minor injuries, he'll be able to go back then. I think that'll be really good because I think, we're such a young talent,
man,
that is potentially being damaged, So I think when it's all said and done, what I loved, and it's cliche, but fuck it, it's my platform, so I'll say what I want. What I loved was the fact that all of the boxing community came back. You even had Terence Crawford saying, listen, pull through this one.
Sean Porter, as the nice as he is, these guys putting everything aside, and I think this is what the beautiful thing about the game is.
And on that, we've seen that again. We've seen another fight on the weekend, Patrick Day.
Yes.
So
and the letter that was written by the opponent, I forgot his name now. That was quite emotional. Actually.
Yeah, you see what I mean?
To see what he was
just goes to show that we love this sport, but it's a dangerous sport, and like they keep saying, you don't play boxing. So we're going to wrap up the show because we're nearly finished. So we're going to do a quick bit of a buzz. As we said, Bieterbiev, Gvozdyk is the fight this weekend, so make sure you tune into that. We will have details on what platform we're showing that on our Facebook and Instagram page. Also, in my opinion, I think we might as well touch on Dillian White. Dillian White was a bit, and we're going to make it very brief, Dillian White was a bit controversial, criticising boxing fans. As usual,
but Dillian... I like you, Dill.
Yeah.
You're the man to me.
Yeah.
But I just don't think right now, especially as your situation isn't said and done, that you can afford to make that comment. Or maybe he's got a plan. Maybe he's got a plan. Or maybe something's going to come out.
Actually, you're right. I can't even shake my head and say no because you're right. Maybe he has got a plan. But I think he needs to really review that plan because I think, like you said, with the situation that's going on and coming out criticising fans.
He won the fans over initially.
Exactly. After the AJ loss.
Yeah, he won the fans over because he became...
He won the fans over. So don't lose them again. So like I'll say, I don't agree with that. I think, look, boxing fans are always going to have an opinion, but you know what? Unfortunately, we're the ones that help the sport.
No, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? When the casuals are not around, we're the ones watching the fights.
We're the ones here.
When you're fighting at your call, we're the ones
there. We're the ones there ringside.
Speak for yourself, bro. I'm getting nosebleeds in them things. then just want to really talk about. We spoke about Spence Jr. Announced today. Big up, Terence Crawford is fighting a guy called Mean Machine. Very, very, very poor. Yeah, exactly. So when you guys start looking into that, December the 14th, Terence Crawford is fighting a guy called Mean Machine. His name's not really Mean Machine, but they don't know how to spell or pronounce his name, so they're calling him Mean Machine.
Oh, come on. Where's his brother from?
I don't even know. So go on Instagram, you'll find it all. But aside from that, the name, the fight that should be the head lead card, as far as I'm concerned, is Comey versus Lopez. You've got two strong fighters. You've got Comey, who I'm going to be absolutely biased about and tell you that he's a Ghanaian warrior, and he's going to put it all on the line. And you've got Lopez, which is one of the up-and-coming prospects, heavily touted. Everyone's getting behind him, and he's got power. So he's got an interesting style. He likes to reproduce a little of the shoulder rolls, Philly shells. Yeah. We're going to see how that how that matches. I think a matchup, fantastic.
What platforms?
That's going to be on ESPN, so we're probably saying BT Sport for the
BT
UK.
Sport, ESPN,
But that was announced today, so get behind Richard Comey for sure, but that's a great fight. And I just want to say, I think for the next 12 months, we're going to see more cracking fights. Yep. So guys, listen, just want to say a big shout out to Sam, been calling in, supporting the platform. Think that you've done quite a good job. As Tom said, you filled his shoes quite nicely. So welcome you back.
I'll get used to it.
No. Think about it. We'll get you on more. At the end of the day, we're fans talking boxing, so we want to do different things. If we can get a few fans on with a few fighters at the same time, let's have an open conversation. So listen, do you want to give out any of your social media details, or are you moving like Al Heyman?
I'm moving like Al Heyman.
I know that.
Incognito.
But listen, thank you again. Guys, for the past, present, and future, if you are listening, please like, please share, please subscribe. Raps on TV on every platform: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube,
Twitch.
Even man like Tom's about to set up a Spotify, so we're going to be there as well. And Sam's about to do the Twitch. But listen, guys, thank you very much. Appreciate all the support, all the callers. We're out.
Ladies and gentlemen,